Welcome to Raptors. Today, I'm Savanna Hamilton alongside Paul Jones and Sherman Hamilton. Amy Audibert will, of course, be joining us a little bit later. I'm excited to dive into this one, guys, because we are talking NBA AllStar Weekend. We're going to go through some memorable moments because we got a couple Raptors in this year's game. We got Fred VanVleet, Scotty Barnes, Precious Achiuwa in the Rising Stars Challenge as well. But let's dive right on in, Jonesy, the 2000 dunk contest. We're starting off strong here, okay? Because you were there, right? What do you remember about that night, and how did it impact the Raptors throughout the course of the franchise's history?
You know, Savannah, it was an interesting time because the All-Star Game was coming back after a lockout season. And it was the first time that they were bringing the dunk contest back after all the histrionics and the showmanship of the ABA. This was the NBA's first, okay, we're going to do the dunk contest. And the arena that night in Oakland, what we now know as Oracle, was just jam-packed. And I was working with TSN at the time, and I was the guy doing the interviews for the All-Star Saturday night in the tunnel. And I spoke to Vince Carter. I was the last person to speak to him before he left me, walked down the tunnel and onto the court. And we did the interview and we did the media thing. And then the lights went off and the guy said, okay, cut, and you're clear. Put the mic down. And I said, Vince, this is you, man. You're all over this. You're all over this. And he kind of looked at me, and all I saw was the top of his head when he looked down. He said, I don't know, Jonesy, I'm not so sure, man. I'm thinking this is, and I don't know what transformation happened from the time he walked down the tunnel and the lights hit him, but it was ridiculous. I watched Cynthia Cooper and Isaiah Thomas. We've seen the highlights jump over the table. I was in my seat sitting beside Dave Winfield of the Toronto Blue Jays and Paul Silas, who I believe was the coach of the Charlotte Hornets at the time. And they were amazed. People around me were just, their jaws were dropping. And everybody sees the footage of Shaquille O'Neal with his video cam.
Yes.
It was just an unbelievable night. And you're right, Savannah, that helped put Vince and the Raptors on the map. And remember, Vince became the leading vote getter in the All-Star Game being in Toronto. There was no internet. He was not in New York or LA. And that night, that All-Star Game, that All-Star Dunk Contest, to me, it was one of the greatest I've ever seen. We've had some real good ones, but that definitely ranks in my top 3 to 5, no question about it. It was an electrifying night, and all the circumstances just fed into that.
I'm so jealous that you were able to be there. You know,
I'm old though, Savannah. I'm old. That's what it
I was
means.
gonna say. I don't know if I'd be able to appreciate it, seeing that I would have been like 5 years old when that was happening. But regardless, I can only imagine how electrifying that night is. And clearly, your words did something, because he ended up having a crazy performance as well. So I'll give you some credit there, Jonesy. We'll give you some credit.
Thanks.
Sure. Let's talk about another dunk contest that happened 13 years later. Terrence Ross, T-Ross. He had a campaign that year saying, let Ross dunk. He rocked the Carter throwback jersey en route to when he won the championship there. Sherm, how did T-Ross really put himself on the NBA radar because of that dunk contest?
Well, I think Terrence Ross, when he was drafted to the Raptors, he made it clear he wanted to bring that Air Canada thing back. I mean, he talked about it, Vince Carter and what he did as an athlete. And he thought that he had athleticism that could kind of bring that era back to the Raptors. So Terrence was very confident in his leaping ability, and rightfully so, because, those of us who saw him regularly, we saw a guy who had some big bounce when it came to attacking. But he was that kind of weird, kind of good shooter, but was extremely athletic. So he had that mix. And I think that when he got to the dunk off, we talk about the dunks he did, but that first dunk he did, it was a 360 around the back where it looked like his chest was on the rim when he threw it down. And because there's no props involved, I think that set the tone for his ability to catch everybody's attention because nobody knew who Terrence Ross was at the time. So he did that dunk and everybody said, whoa, this guy's for real. And then he put the cherry on the cake with that final dunk over the kid, through the legs over the top over the kid. But as far as Terrence Ross, Vince Carter already put Toronto on the map. Terrence Ross helped to get himself some attention and say, hey, I'm a flyer. And we saw throughout his career, even till today, he's developed his game and he's got the respect, not just of a dunk champion, but of a guy who's improved his game and has used his athleticism and built on that to become a very good player in this league. So it was a great moment for him personally. And I think it did help recognition for himself. But overall, Terrence Ross has built a great career off of skill set and working hard and becoming the player he is. And just to touch on Vince's, in 2000, the dunk contest was dead. It was flatlined. It needed some type of juice since the Jordan Dominique days. And I think that what Vince Carter did was absolutely bring the dunk contest back to relevance. And that's what Vince did in 2000. More than anything else, he brought the dunk contest back.
Yeah, it's incredible because I've watched that dunk contest, look back at the films and everything. It still amazes me to this day. And the fact that he's doing all this without the fancy props, without the Superman cape, without the car, and it's still one of the most impressive dunks I've ever seen. So with that being said, we got to recognize some other Raptors, particularly Fred VanVleet, because he had some amazing moments throughout this past All-Star season himself.
1:25 to go. Fred, right on time. Freddie AllStar, Rockford's finest. 4 on the clock. Fred, the deep three from Aurora, from the logo. Double finds Fred from the logo. Freddie logo. We'll see you in Cleveland. Batted away. Who else? Freddie AllStar on the move. Attacking the end one. Looking up top and Achua. The dime. The triple-double. Freddie AllStar. You can see that smile all the way to Rockford.
We're going to talk about the 2020 All-Star Game in Chicago. Jonesy, Kyle Lowry with his 6th appearance. Pascal Siakam with his 1st. The game featured the Elam ending that was dedicated to the late and great Kobe Bryant, with an MVP award being renamed also in his honor. So there's 3 things that we could probably touch on here. 1, Pascal Siakam playing a box in 1 on his former Toronto Raptor teammate, of course, Kawhi Leonard. Lowry taking 2 charges in the game. And then obviously the overall competitiveness of that game as well.
Yeah. And Sav, I mean, I guess I'll address all those 3 things, but I'll start with the last one in a sense. The game had gotten to a point where it wasn't competitive. The All-Star Game was, back in my day, I would watch the All-Star Game in the first quarter and a half, first half even, there were showmanship plays. Isaiah Thomas doing bounce alley-oop dunks to Dominique Wilkins and lots of oohs and ahs because the coaches had such tight control of the actual game when you were playing in the regular season. The All-Star Game let guys cut loose. But somewhere around the middle of the 3rd quarter, it would always get very competitive. And guys would get in stances and it would be, you wanted to win. There was a pride element. I think some of that got eroded. So the ending to me was terrific because now you're playing to a certain point. And it's not the clock finishing the game, it's the players finishing the game, like baseball or volleyball. Time doesn't run out. You have to finish the game. And that was a great thing. I love that they brought that in. And to your first point, I thought it was kind of comical with Pascal playing the box and 1 on Kawhi, but it also spoke to the competitiveness because they wanted to win. And that was Nick Nurse coaching the East, doing something with one of his former players. So I really like that. And then to bring the competitiveness to a whole new level, there's a dude taking charges in the All-Star Game.
Right.
Not one, but 2. And standing in there like, I took a charge and his teammates helping him up. And I was there and I was sitting on the baseline with Mark Spears from the Undefeated. And he looked at me, he said, did I just see what I just saw? A man took a charge in an all-star game? I said, yeah. He goes, you can't, this is the world's greatest pickup game. You can't take charges in pickup games. I said, that man just took 2. And if he's given him a chance, he's going to take 1 more as well. So to me, it spoke to the overall competitiveness of the game and Kyle Lowry and how much he wanted to win and how much the attitude of, I'm going to do whatever it takes to win this thing. I don't care. And it was brought to the All-Star game. And I thought it was terrific. I love that kind of an ending for an All-Star game.
Oh, absolutely. And also I appreciate your Mark J. Spears impression. It was great. It's spot on. Sure. We got moved to the another decade here. We talked about the 2000s earlier. Let's talk about the 2010s now. Lowry, DeRozan, they were staples in the All-Star game. What was some of your favorite moments from those two during those years?
Well, I think all of it. When you think about 2 teammates who worked extremely hard and really needed each other to have success, to elevate not only the team, but their own personal games, to get to an all-star level. So there was an appreciation, a camaraderie, and an understanding of, yeah, we've done this. We've gotten to this all-star game. And, you know, when speaking to Kyle, he talks about it, the games don't matter. It's being there with DeMar. It was about being there with his guy who he knows everything that it's taken for him to get there and vice versa. It's like when he speaks to it, it has nothing to do with the basketball at all. It has everything to do with accomplishment, about belief in each other, about how they were able to create this situation for themselves. But actually in the games, I mean, obviously DeMar in the dunk contest, he had one of those dunks that made me like ask how he did it. And I don't even know how to explain it. He was a 360 kind of cup and he turned and he dunked it. But and in Colin, we talk about it. Jonesy just mentioned it. And it's that charge embodies everything about Kyle Lowry. Mm-hmm. He's not your typical all-star guy. He's not going to go out there and be the flashy Kyrie Irving, Steph Curry kind of player. He knows how to win. And he knows how to do it one way. And he brought that element to the All-Star game, staying true to himself. But, you know, for what it did for the franchise in terms of helping to elevate the franchise, those are the things I look at in the 2000s when you have perennial All-Stars that are teammates that are now making a push in the playoffs, that are getting recognition. It just kind of built to everything that this organization was doing behind these 2 guys who were the cornerstones of the franchise.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I always think that like when Kyle Lowry, he took those charges, that's just speaks to his game. That just speaks to his character. And, you know, Jonesy, you touched on it earlier at one point, you know, the All-Star game was just kind of a glorified dunk contest maybe, or just like a little free for all, whoever wants to score, keep it relatively close. But I would argue almost at the 4th quarter was when they actually started getting semi-serious.
You know, Savannah, I like the fact that each quarter kept its own score.
Yeah.
It was a separate entity into itself because it was the money went for charity. I mean, back in the old days of the old Continental Basketball Association, you didn't win or lose. A game was a total of 7 points, 1 point win for each quarter and 3 points for the game. So you could still lose the first 3 quarters and win the game.
Yeah, and very quickly, remember, we've all played pickup basketball. We played to point, game to 7. So we knew what the objective was. And this is the world's greatest pickup game. So the same rules should apply. And I like the way they've adjusted to end the game, just like the rest of us played pickup basketball.
And here's the final adjustment I would make, Sherm. I agree with you wholeheartedly. On the blacktop, the game never ended on a free throw. So, I mean, sometimes you had to make the shot. Yeah, sometimes you had to make the shot from center because a guy was chopping you. So if there's a foul at the end of the game, and that would be a free throw to end the game, no, you have your choice of where you want to take it out of bounds, side out of bounds, baseline out of bounds, wherever, but it can't end on a free throw. You got to get a bucket to win the game.
My only contest with that, Jonesy, is the fact that Kobe's first and last shot ended on a free throw, and that game was in honor of him. And so I thought it was the perfect book ending that way.
I'll give you that.
There we go. We're going to show you another dominant Raptor that also made the All-Star game as well, Chris Bosh, and he campaigned for himself. So we're going to take a look at his video right now.
Attention, attention, attention. This is Chris Bosh here, and I'm offering you Boxing Day special, post-Christmas special, a New Year special. Why don't you bring the 2008 year in right? Come on and vote for me. Ladies and gentlemen, why don't you go get an All-Star ballot right now and punch in my name. That's right. Remember, it's Chris Bosh. Best thing about it is, you think it's $20? No, sir. You think it's $10? No, ma'am. Even $5? It is free. That is right, it is free. We don't want your money here, we just want your vote. Filling out these ballots is easy as cow tipping. Ain't that right, Bubba? That's right. Hurry up, folks, because time is almost up and these things are moving fast. Make sure you get one of these ballots. Punch in my name, Chris Bosh. Or you can go to NBA.com. Hey, even better yet, you can go to my website, chris-bosh.com, and vote for me today. I'll see you in New Orleans.
Now we're going to head over to Amy Audibert.
Thank you so much, Sav. And I get everybody loves the dunk competition, but my favorite part of All-Star Weekend is the three-point contest. There's something so special about these guys that can shoot that ball so consistently beautiful. Let's talk about the only Toronto Raptor to have won the three-point competition to date. Let's hope that changes this weekend. But as of right now, it's Jason Capono. Now, he won in 2007 when he was playing with the Miami Heat. But again, 2008, he repeated. He had to shoot through the likes of Steve Nash, Peja Stojakovic, Dirk Nowitzki. He dropped 25 points in the final round, which at the time was a record. Steph Curry holds both the finals and single round record in the three-point competition, but records are made to be broken. So all eyes on Fred VanVleet. Now let's jump on over to the skills competition, because while a Toronto Raptor has not hoisted the trophy just yet, there've been some pretty solid efforts as of late. In 2014, DeMar DeRozan gave it all he had. The next season, it was Kyle Lowry's turn. And most recently in 2020, it was Pascal Siakam, who just got edged out in the second round by Bam Adebayo, who went on to win the whole thing. So again, a valiant effort from him. And the format for the skills competition this season is really interesting. There are three teams. Giannis and his brothers are all one team. There's a Cleveland team, as they are the host city. And then there's the rookie team. And of course, that includes Cade Cunningham, Josh Giddey, and our very own Scotty Barnes. I think the young guns are going to hold their own here. And Scotty's weekend doesn't end with the skills competition, because he's going to be playing in the Rising Stars Challenge along with fellow Raptor Precious Achiuwa. This is an area that has had some representation over the past for the Raptors. OG Anunoby suited up in 2018. DeMar DeRozan showed off his stuff in 2011. Chris Bosh got out there in 2005, but maybe the most memorable in 1996, Damon Stoudemire played in the game in San Antonio, and he walked away with the MVP of the game. He had 19 points, 11 assists, and yes, 4 steals. He actually played defense that weekend too. That was a special moment for the Toronto Raptors. I think it was kind of, they have arrived to the All-Star Weekend.
Once again, talking All-Star Weekends. Let's just dive into it. 2016. One of the coldest weekends in Toronto,
Yeah.
like period, let alone having the All-Star Weekend here, where all the Americans now think that Canada is always like that at all times and it's freezing. Jonesy, obviously one of the greatest dunk contests that happened in 2016 as well. It was Aaron Gordon and Zach LaVine going at it. Very debatable who should have actually won that one. What was it like to be in the building? Because I'm actually jealous now, Jonesy, because you were in the building at 2000 and 2016.
It goes to say what I was talking about before, Sav. I'm just kind of old, but that would rank, and maybe there's a recency bias with me, but that would rank as the #1 dunk contest I've seen at All-Star. It was just ahead of Michael Dominique in '88.
Wow.
And being at the Vince put on a show. The other guys kind of got ignored, but in this dunk contest, there was not one, but there were 2 dudes that were going at it. And like the creativity, like to me, when Aaron Gordon sat on that basketball, a pike position, I can't even sit on the floor like in that position. And this man is jumping, putting the ball under his legs and dunking it. And the timing, the one coming off the hovercraft with the stuff, the Magic Dragon. And then I go back and I really thought Aaron Gordon won. And then I looked at what Zach LaVine did. in slow motion.
Mm-hmm.
Some of those, I think it should have been a tie. I think they should have just stopped and said, here's a trophy for you. Here's a trophy for you. We'll donate this much money for you. Donate this much for you. It's a tie, because it was, in my mind, the greatest dunk contest in All-Star history. And the use of like the props and the other people were judicious and strategic. I thought it was terrific. And I was rushing up to the press conference, the news conference after it was done, sitting in the media section. And I had bought tickets for about $9 million for my kids and my family to be there. And they met me outside the Raptors practice facility up in the Scotiabank Arena on the third floor where they were holding the news conference. And Zach LaVine came walking by with the trophy, and the kids looked at him. My kids looked at him, and the agent from the NBA, the director of that part of the media from the NBA, looked at my kids and gave them the biggest treat. He walked them into the back of the Scotiabank Arena practice facility and let them stand there and watch the news conference. And just the whole night was electrifying. And they're going to have to go a long way to find a dunk contest, in my eyes, that's better.
That's insane. I can't believe you have that as a number one. Like that says a lot
Yes.
that you have that as number one.
Yes.
But sure, we got to be kind of quick here. What is some of your favorite all-time memories from NBA All-Star Game in Toronto?
Oh, there was a lot. I mean, the fact that the All-Star Game was in Toronto was monumental. When you think about this franchise and when it started, and the struggles to keep basketball relevant, and the ups and downs. And we had a cousin in Vancouver in the Grizzlies that just didn't survive. So to be at this juncture where you have the NBA All-Star Game, where all eyes are on the city of Toronto, the country of Canada, it was amazing. And then, being around the city and seeing all the things that were happening, it was great. The game, the dunk off was probably one of the best in the history of All-Star games. I just think that, everything involved with it was great. And then you have to tip your hat to Drake. I thought Drake did a very good job of using his platform as well, drawing those eyes to our city and our country. So everything about it was just great to put our country on the map and our city on the map. And it was to me a real, we got here, we've done it, we've arrived. Canada is finally recognized as somewhere that basketball is respected and played at a high level.
Absolutely. Let alone having the number one dunk contest in Jonesy's book. Thank you guys for watching another episode of Raptors Today. From myself, Savanna, Jonesy, Sherm, Amy, Jake, and Garth. Have a great day.